Have you been experiencing a lot of hardships lately? If so, stay tuned and I will teach you how to navigate through growing pains today. What is going on, everyone? We are back for another episode of Prospering with Christ. I hope that you had a wonderful week last week, and I hope that this week will be just as amazing to you as well. So, for today's episode, we are discussing navigating through growing pains. And I wanted to talk about this today because in our life, we are going to experience hardships, obstacles, challenges, and setbacks. And normally, a lot of those experiences do not feel good. A lot of those experiences bring a lot of pain into our life. And for a lot of Christian people, whenever we experience a painful situation, we automatically think that it is an attack of the enemy. We say things like, the enemy is attacking me, the enemy is out to get me, the enemy is distracting me because he knows that God is about to do something amazing in my life. This is the enemy, this is the enemy, this is the enemy. But I want you to understand that the enemy is not the only one who can bring pain into your life. Just like the enemy can bring pain into your life, God himself can bring pain into your life as well. And if every time you feel pain, if you automatically take that as a sign that the enemy is attacking you, you are going to miss the things that God is trying to do in your life. See, when the enemy brings pain into your life, it's normally to distract you. It's normally to break you. It's normally to discourage you. It's normally to confirm something in you. It's to confirm that you're not enough. It's to confirm that you can't do it. It's to confirm that you're unqualified. It's to confirm that it will never happen for you. The devil's purpose of bringing pain into your life is to break you. The devil's purpose of bringing pain into your life is to turn you away from the things that God is trying to do for you. But see, when God brings pain into your life, it's normally to grow you. It's to enhance you. It's to make you a better person. It's to make you into a better version of yourself. It's to allow you to experience things so that you keep a great heart posture. It's to allow you to experience things so that you can learn from those situations. God's pain is supposed to make you greater. God's pain is supposed to push you further to what he has called you to do, to push you further to the things that he has for you, to push you further for the life that he promised for you. And normally, when you are experiencing pain, it's extremely hard to tell the difference. You cannot tell if this pain is coming from the devil or if this pain is coming from God, because there have been times in my life where God has brought pain in my life. God has brought painful situations in my life. God has brought painful circumstances in my life, and I could not tell it was him. I would pray and I would be like, God, why are you putting me through this? God, I don't understand why this is happening. God, where are you in this season? And when you are feeling pain, you cannot understand why it's happening. When you are feeling pain, you cannot understand what God is doing. When you are feeling pain, you are just so focused on the hurt. You are just so focused on how it's making you feel that you cannot discern where this pain is coming from. You cannot discern who sent this pain to you. And because a lot of us can't discern it, and a lot of us don't understand that pain can come from God, we automatically view it as an attack from the devil. We automatically put the blame on the devil. And although that sounds right, that's not the right thing to do. Because when you misdiscern who sent this pain to you, when you misdiscern why you are going through whatever you are going through, you are missing what God is trying to do for you. You are not understanding how God is trying to strengthen you in this season. You are not understanding how God is trying to change you in this season. You are not understanding how God is trying to speak something to you, how God is trying to teach something to you in this season, and you are missing his lessons. And because you are missing his lessons, you remain in this season until you find finally get the things that he's trying to get to you. Every time that you go through a painful situation, you negate it. Every time that you go through a painful situation, you rebuke it. Every time that you go through a painful situation, you avoid it. And that is the exact reason why you are still here, because God is saying you are rebuking something that I sent to you. You are avoiding something that I'm trying to put you through. You are turning against what I brought to you. You have been praying to God and you have been wondering why he is not answering you. You have been wondering why you have not seen a change in your life. And God is saying the change is in the pain. You have to go through that tough circumstance. You have to go through that hardship. You have to feel the hurt. You have to feel the toughness. You have to feel the pressure. But because you keep misdiscerning the season, because you keep misdiscerning the circumstance, and you keep misdiscerning it as being the devil, you keep rebuking it. You keep negating it. You keep avoiding it. You keep trying to go and figure out your own way to do things. You keep doing everything but going through it. That is the reason why you have not heard God speak. That is the reason why you have not gotten clarity over this situation. That is the reason why you have not seen change in your circumstance, because God is saying, this pain is something that I sent to you. This was not the devil. This was not his attacks. This was not his tactics. This was me. You have to go through this in order to grow. You have to go through this in order to get to the next side. You have to go through this to get the answers that you have been seeking him for. You've been praying and you've been telling God how you are willing to transform. You are telling God how you are willing to grow. You are telling God how you are willing to become new. You are willing to become the version of the person that you need to be in order to operate in that blessing, in order to manage that blessing, in order to walk into that blessing. But you have failed to realize that that growth that you've been promising God that you're ready for comes with pain. And as long as you do not understand the pain of growth, you will continue to misdiscern it. You will continue to rebuke it. You will continue to avoid it because you think it's the enemy when it's God. When you look up the definition of growing, it means that you are increasing. It means that you are enhancing. It means that you are starting from where you are and you are moving up. You are starting from where you are and you are increasing up. You are starting from where you are and there are things that is adding on to you. And I want you to think about that for a minute. If things are adding on to you, do you really think that that is going to feel good? Think about you, the way that you are right now, the weight that you are right now, the size that you are right now, the strength that you have right now, the muscles that you have right now. If I was to add a bag of bricks onto you right now, you might be able to handle it. But if I add another bag of bricks onto you, you might be able to handle that too. But if I add a third bag of bricks onto you, you're going to start feeling the pressure. And then if I add 4 more bags of bricks onto you, you might be struggling to stand up. You might be struggling to hold it up. And if I add 10 more onto you, you might fall down, because it's too much. Although this is something that's being added onto you for your benefit, it does not feel good. You feel the pressure of it. You're struggling to hold it up. It hurts. It will probably hurt if I had 20 bags of bricks on you and I was asking you, hey, carry this, carry 10 on this arm and 10 on this arm. You're going to feel the pain. Not only are you going to feel the pain in the moment, but you're also going to feel the pain tomorrow when you wake up. When you wake up and you're so sore that you cannot move. Think about it like when you work out for the first time. Working out is for your benefit. Working out is to grow you. Working out is to strengthen your muscles. But the very first time you do it, it hurts. The very first time you do it is hard. And the next day when you wake up in the morning, you're sore. The next day when you wake up in the morning, you can barely even move. The next day when you try to do that exact same workout, it's harder. Why is something that's supposed to be good for you harder the more you try? Because you got to break through the pain. Pain comes before growth. And you have to get to the pain before you start seeing the growth. You got to get through the pain before you start seeing the results. And the problem is, a lot of us are working out. The problem is, a lot of us are trying to carry those 20 bags of bricks on our arms. And when we feel the pain from that workout, when we feel the pain from the things that God is adding on to us to carry, we automatically think that the pain is the enemy. We automatically think that the pain is an attack from the enemy. We feel like the enemy is trying to distract us. We feel like the enemy is trying to attack us. We feel like the enemy is trying to make it where we don't see the things that God is doing. And so we walk away because we feel like, no, the pain is too much. No, the pain is an attack from the enemy. I'm going to avoid that because it feels painful. I'm going to avoid that because every time I try, the enemy is going to attack me. And God is saying, this is not the enemy. This is me. There is pain before growth. This comes with the territory. You will never get to the other side until you feel the pain. You will never get to the other side until you go through the pain. The more you push through the pain, the more you continue to do the workout, the more you try, the more you carry what I added on to you, you will start realizing that it gets easier. You will start realizing that you can push through that workout and it doesn't hurt. You can push through that workout and you wake up the next day and you're not sore anymore. You can carry those bricks. You will get to a point where you can carry 10 bags of bricks on both arms and it doesn't hurt. And guess what? Once you get to that point, we're going to start adding more bricks and you're going to start becoming more strengthened. Your muscles are going to work better. Your muscles are going to be stronger, but you had to feel the pain first. You had to go through the pain first. You had to push through the pain first in order to see the growth on the other side. I want to give you a real life example of what growing pains look like. And I want you to think about a baby. When a baby starts to grow, one of the first signs of growth that they experience is getting their first tooth. Nothing about a baby getting its first tooth feels good. When a baby gets their first tooth, it hurts, they cry, they whine, they keep playing with their gums because they're trying to find a way to ease the pain, to soothe the pain. And the reason why it hurts so bad is because their gums are shut closed. And there is this big, gigantic tooth that is trying to push itself through. It's trying to rip itself through the gum to come out on the other side. Imagine you having a gum that is completely shut closed. And there is this big behind tooth that is ripping your gum open, is tearing it open to get through to the other side. Now, the tooth is going to be beautiful when it comes out. The tooth is going to be beautiful when it's fully developed. But as you are going through it, as it's opening you up, as it's tearing you, as it's ripping itself through, it's extremely, extremely, extremely painful. Think about a woman giving birth. Babies are amazing. It is the most beautiful thing to see life grow, to see something come to life. But nothing about the birthing process, nothing about the labor process feels good. When you give birth, you have an entire human coming out of your body through a small hole. And that human is big. I mean, they're not as big as you, but they're a decent sized baby. And when they come out, you will feel like your uterus is getting turned upside down. When they come out, they are ripping themselves through that hole. They might even tear you. You might even have to get a little bit stitched up because they tore you. Nothing about the process of giving birth is beautiful. Although you get a beautiful baby, although you get to experience how it feels to watch this baby grow up, it's not a beautiful beginning. There was pain before the birth. There was pain before the growth. And the reason why I'm giving you so many different examples is because a lot of us do not understand that pain comes before growth. Even though God shows us everywhere, God shows us all around us that before growth, there is a pain. Before growth, there is hurt. Just like there is pain before you go into labor, just like there is pain before a tooth grows into your mouth, just like there is pain before your muscles develop when you work out, just like there is pain when you are trying to carry weights that you are not strong enough to carry yet. There is pain before you get the growth in your circumstance. And a lot of us have been wondering why we are where we are. Why don't we see a change in our lives? Why don't we see a change in our circumstance? Why don't we see a change in us? And God is saying, because you have not been enduring the pain. Every single time that you feel pain, you turn around. Every single time that you feel pain, you say it's too hard. Every single time that you feel pain, you give up. You have not learned how to endure the pain. You have not learned how to endure the hurt. Every time you feel the pain, you pray to God and you ask him, God, take this away from me. God, please take it away. God, please remove it out of my life. And God is saying, I can't remove the pain. I know it hurts. I know it doesn't feel good, but I can't remove it because it's necessary. Your answer is in that pain. Your blessing is on the other side of that pain, and I cannot take it away. You have to endure it. You have to go through it. You have to push through. You have to keep going to get to the other side. When a baby is developing a new tooth and they start to feel the pain from that tooth tearing and ripping their gums, they cannot say, God, please take the tooth away because it hurts too bad. When a woman is 9 months pregnant and she is in labor and she is feeling contractions, she is feeling her uterus turn upside down, she is feeling the baby pushing through and tearing her vagina open, she cannot say, God, please take the baby away because the pain hurts too bad. God is not going to remove the thing that is trying to push itself through that's causing you pain. He's going to help you endure. When a baby has a toothache, God did not remove the tooth to avoid the pain, but he did provide babies with numbing medicine. He did provide babies with toothache medicine so that they can rub it on their gums and it can ease up the pain so that they can endure the situation, so that they can endure the circumstance. When a woman is in labor, and she is feeling the contraction, she is feeling the pain from giving birth, God does not take the baby away so that she does not have to feel the pain anymore. But what he did do is provide an epidural, which will help numb her body, which will help ease up the pain so that she can push through and she can push the baby out and see her blessing. And the problem with a lot of us is that we have been praying the wrong prayer. We have been praying for God to take it away. We have been praying for God to get rid of it. We have been praying that we can avoid it. We have been praying for it to go away. And God is saying, you need to start praying for me to help you numb the pain. You need to start praying for me to help you endure, for us to ease up the pain so that you can still make it through to the other side, so that you can still make it through to your blessing, so that you can still make it through to the growth that God has for you. The reason why you have not been seeing your blessing is because you do not understand that this pain is necessary for this blessing. This pain is necessary for you to make it out to the other side. This pain is something that God sent you. This is not something that he sent to break you. This is not something that he sent to discourage you. This is not something that he sent to confirm insecurities into you. This is not something that the devil sent to you. This is something that God sent to you. This is something that you need to go through. This is something that you need to experience. This is something that you need to feel in order to get to the other side. The pain comes before the blessing. The pain comes before the growth. And you got to stop praying for God to take it away. You got to stop praying for God to remove it. You have to start praying for God to endure you. You have to start praying for God to strengthen you. You have to start praying for God to give you the courage to keep going, no matter how this is making you feel, no matter how bad this is hurting, no matter how bad your circumstances look, no matter how bad your faith is dying. You have to pray. You have to ask God for the courage to keep going, because as long as you continue to turn around, you will continue to have the same results. As long as you continue to turn around, you will continue to see the same things happening in your life. In order for you to see new, you have to go through new. In order for you to see new, you have to experience new pain. In order for you to see new, you have to go through this situation. You have to endure this situation to make it out on the other side. Are you enjoying this episode so far? Is this episode helping you understand growth pains? If so, I want you to do me 2 favors. Favor number 1, I want you to leave a review. You can leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this episode. Leave an honest review and let me and others know how you are enjoying the show. And favor number 2, if you know anyone who has been struggling with growing pains, maybe they keep going through really bad circumstances and they keep turning around because they can't handle the pain that they're feeling, then I want you to send this episode to them. Let this episode motivate and encourage them the same way that it is motivating and encouraging you. Now let's get back to the show. And I know that you may be listening to this and you may be thinking to yourself, I understand that pain comes before growth, but why does it have to hurt? Why do I have to experience painful situations before I get my blessing? Why do I have to experience painful situations before I get transformation? And the reason why is because God is doing 3 different things in you. The first thing that God is doing is He's rebuilding you. And I want you to think about the process of rebuilding something. You may be thinking, well, when you rebuild something, you're like putting it back together. But that's not the first step. The first step is knocking down what was already there. God has to knock down all the things that has served its purpose in your life that can no longer be a part of the rebuilding of you, that can no longer be a part of the new version of you, that can no longer be a part of the new building that He's about to build in you. And a lot of us have built walls up inside of ourselves because there are so many things that we have been through. There are so many experiences that we had that we would rather avoid, that we would rather pretend they don't exist. And we would rather use toxic things to cope with instead of dealing with them because they're too painful. And in order for God to rebuild you, He has to knock down every part of you. And that includes the things that you're too afraid to talk about. That includes the things that you're too afraid to go to therapy about. That includes the things that you have built walls up over because you're too afraid to feel them. They bring too much pain. They bring too much heartache. You're afraid. You're ashamed. You're embarrassed. You're ashamed to even say that that was an experience you had. God has to knock down every single wall. And sometimes when He knocks down that wall, it's reminding you of the pain you felt when you were 8 years old. It's reminding you of the pain you felt when you were 20 years old. It reminds you of the experience you had when you were 5 years old. Sometimes the pain that you are feeling is God removing that wall, God taking that situation away from you so that you can fully heal and let it go. And it will no longer be a part of you when He rebuilds this new version of you. The second thing that God is doing is that God is reconstructing you. Now that God has knocked down your walls, now that God has knocked down the building, there are pieces that has flung everywhere. You were put together and now you have fallen apart and the pieces has fell everywhere. And now God is looking at the ground and he's picking up this piece that's over here and this piece that's over there. And he's saying, I need to put these two together to make this perfect form of you. I need to put these two together to make this better version of you. I am looking around at the pieces that have been fallen on the floor. I am looking around at the pieces that have been knocked down on the floor, and I am picking up the ones that's needed, and I'm leaving the scraps where they need to go. I'm leaving the scraps on the ground. And once we're done with the reconstruction, we are going to sweep away those scraps and we're going to throw them in the trash because we do not need them in this new building. We do not need them in this new version of you. I'm going to take what I need and I'm going to put them in different places. They're not going to be in the same places, because if I wanted them in the same places, there would be no reason for me to knock those pieces down. But I'm going to put those pieces in the places where they need to be in this season. I'm going to put those pieces in the places that they need to be in this new version of you, because he is reconstructing you. I like to think of God's reconstruction process of having surgery. And for this example, I'm going to specifically use a BBL surgery. When you go and you get a BBL surgery, they normally work with what you already have. They're going to take some fat from one area of your body and put it in your behind, put it in your legs. Normally they take fat from your stomach and they'll put it, in your behind, or they'll put some on your thighs to make your thighs kind of match your behind, but they don't use new pieces. They take pieces that was already in you. They take pieces that was broken down when they opened you up, and they pick it up and they reconstruct it and put it in another area, because in this new version of you, in this new body of you, this fat serves a different purpose. It does not serve purpose in your stomach anymore. It serves purpose in your thighs. It does not serve purpose in your stomach anymore. It serves purpose in your behind. The BBL surgery is a prime example of what it looks like for God to reconstruct you. And I've never had BBL surgery, but from what I've seen, it's very painful. And when people have to come out of their surgery and they have that little wrap on them and they can't use the bathroom by themselves and they just be laying there in pain for a week or two, it's a very, very, very painful process after the surgery is done. But guess what? In about a month, when you see they shape, when you see they body, they look at it and they're like, that pain was worth it. That surgery was worth it. The reconstruction was worth it. My body looked a lot better than what it looked like before the surgery. I had a humongous stomach. I didn't have a behind. My thighs were really, really small. But this new version of me is perfection. This new version of me is beautiful. And when you see the reconstruction that God is going to do after he's done with your surgery, you're going to look at this new version of you and you are going to say, this version of me is better than the old version of me. This pain that I went through is worth everything that I had to go through. And the third thing that God is doing is he's stretching you. See, one thing that I know about, BBL surgery and liposuction and all of that is they have to cut open your skin. And sometimes when they remove fat out of your stomach, they have to pull your skin over and staple it together and stitch it up. They have to stretch your skin. They have to pull it and stretch it. And sometimes the reason why it's so painful after the surgery is because you were stretched. Not only were you opened up, but you were also stretched, and you can feel the discomfort from that stretch. Being stretched does not feel good. Being stretched is extremely uncomfortable, and you can feel it. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't hurt. But after you heal from everything God has done, from knocking down your walls, rebuilding you up, reconstructing you, stretching you, you're going to look at this new version of you. You're going to look at this new figure you have, and you're going to say, dang, all the pain was worth it in the end. And the only way for you to get to that point is by enduring the pain of growth. You have to get to a point where you understand that things do not happen to you, they happen for you. See, the reason why we get discouraged is because we have the mentality of thinking that this is happening to me. This is happening to me. The devil is attacking me. But when you take on the mentality of thinking that things happen for you, this is happening for my good. This may not feel good, but it's for my good. This may not feel good, but this is just God reconstructing me. This is just God rebuilding me. This is just God stretching me. This is God teaching me something in this season. This is God doing surgery on me in this season. This is God doing something for me in this season. It's going to be a lot easier for us to endure the pain. See, when you have the mentality of thinking that things are happening to you, you start thinking from a victim mentality. You start thinking, why is this happening to me? I'm not enough. I'm tired. I can never do enough. I can never be enough. This will never happen. The things that I'm praying for will never happen for me. But when you take on the mentality of thinking, no, this isn't happening to me, this is happening for me, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to endure the pain. You also have to get out of the habit of asking God to take this thing away from you. Stop asking God to take the pain away. Stop asking God to take away the situation that is causing the pain, and start asking him for strength to endure. Start asking him, God, what do you want me to learn in this season? What do you want me to learn from this situation? What do you want me to take away from this? What is the thing that you want me to learn and implement? How do you want me to grow from this? How can I strengthen myself? How can I get to a point where I can carry this weight? See, I can't carry it now. But like I said earlier, when you work out, when you lift a weight for the first time, it is going to be shaky. You can't carry it. But the more that you continue doing it, the easier that weight gets. The more that you continue doing it, the more that you're going to be able to not only carry that, but carry more weights on top of that. And the problem is you have not been carrying the weight. The problem is you keep asking God to take the weight off of you. The problem is you stop showing up to the fitness session with God, and God is saying, stop asking me to take it away. Stop asking me to avoid it. Stop asking me to remove it, and start asking me how to endure you in this situation, how to grow your muscles so that you can carry this, so that you have the strength to carry this. Start asking me, how can you learn from this situation so that you can grow as a person from this experience? Have you ever dreamed of making your voice heard and sharing your message with the world? Well, it's time to turn that dream into a reality by starting your very own podcast. I understand that many aspiring podcasters are held back by the worries of cost, complexity, and the time it takes to launch a podcast. That is why I'm excited to announce my new training program that has all the tools and knowledge you need to launch your very own podcast for free. My training will guide you through every single step of your podcast journey. You will learn how to plan, release, market, and grow your podcast from start to finish. So if you're ready to take a leap of faith and share your message with the world, click the link in the description below to access my new podcast training. Now let's get back to the show. Instead of having the mentality of thinking that this is something that needs to be taken away from you, seek the doctor and ask him for medication to numb the pain. Let's go back to the example of having a toothache. Whether you're a baby or you're a full-grown adult, when you go to the dentist for a toothache, or you would get over-the-counter medication for a toothache, they give you pain medication. And one thing about pain medication, it does not heal you. It does not take away the problem. But what it does do is numb the pain that you are feeling while you're going through it. It makes the pain less. It eases the pain for you so that you have enough strength to get through this. You have enough strength to go through this while you are trying to heal, while you are trying to figure out what's the problem, while you are trying to get to the other side. And for some of us, we have to stop asking God to take it away. And we need to start seeking the doctor, aka seeking God, and asking him, give me the medication to numb the pain. Give me the pain medication that's going to ease this up off of me so that I can continue pushing. I can continue moving while you have me in this season. And the next thing that you have to do is stop coming from a victim mentality and start looking for challenges in every situation that you go through. No matter if the challenge is good or no matter if the challenge is bad. Look for learning experiences in every single challenge because that is going to grow you. You remember a couple episodes back, I did the episode about when you seek, you will find. And the way that I came up with that episode was through a circumstance that was like, it was a little difficult, but it wasn't very, very painful. But I took something from that story. I took that God was telling me in some situations, I'm going to have to go seek out the blessing. And I continue to use those principles. I continue to use that principle. I continue to seek in different areas of my life. And guess what? Not only in the story from that episode, but in like 2 different stories after that, I got a blessing because I seeked. And that never would have happened if I did not look at that situation as a learning experience, as a way to challenge my education, as a way to challenge my growth. And for some of you, you're going to have to start looking at every situation you go through, no matter if it's good, no matter if it's bad, as a learning experience in your story, and take the things that you learned and actually apply it to different seasons of your life. Because the last time that I sought something and I found the answer, it was nothing bad. It was not a bad situation. It was not an obstacle. It was not a hardship. It was something good. So you have to use your circumstances as learning situations in this season. And when you do this, you will be able to endure growing pains. Remember that pain does not always come from the enemy. Sometimes God used them to help grow us. Growing is us increasing and enhancing from where we already are. And the only way for us to increase is for us to endure. I know it hurts, but the only reason why it hurts is because God is trying to rebuild, reconstruct, and stretch you. And the only way for him to be able to do this is for you to endure the pain. And you have to endure by understanding that things do not happen to you, they happen for you. You have to get to a point where you stop asking God to take it away and you start seeking him as the doctor and asking him to prescribe you pain medication to help numb the pain and help you continue pressing forward. And you have to use everything as a learning experience, no matter if it's good or if it's bad. So if you have been going through a tough time recently, then my action step is I want you to seek God and I want you to ask him to help you endure the pain and give you strength to keep going. But that is all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you subscribe so that you get a notification every time a new episode is released. Also, leave a review and let me and others know how you are enjoying the show. And if you want to stay connected to me, follow me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook at Prospering with Christ. But that's all I have for you today, and I will see you next week.